Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
With AAA's legendary roadside assistance and access to hotel, concert, and restaurant discounts, members can expect something more. As a member, AAA Roadside Assistance has your back if you're stranded on the side of the road. You're covered whether you're locked out of your car, have a dead battery, need a tow, or run out of gas. Plus, roadside assistance isn't just for your car. It's with you wherever you go, 24/7, 365. And this peace of mind can be yours for about $5 a month. Offers, terms, conditions, and policies are subject to change without notice. Visit AAA.com/member for details.
Welcome into a Week 4 Giants Hangout brought to you by Crestron. My name is Madelyn Burke, joined by Russ Salzberg and Matt Citak. And guys, Giants coming in to a short week off a win, and a great win on the road at that. Giants beating the Browns. Russ, there's so much to take away from this game, getting in the end zone. I can see, how excited you are already talking about this. Where is your point of emphasis and what you saw from this team in Week 3 that you said, okay, now the arrow is pointing up?
Well, first of all, two things. I couldn't be happier for anybody than the Giants, the players themselves, and the coaching staff, because they got the win. But what the Giants did, they came up. I was very impressed with the defense, because the defense had a rough game the game before. They were carved up on the ground. We were talking about a pass rush. Well, talking about a pass rush, they came up with 8 sacks. I mean, your edge rushers, Kayvon and Burns, were terrific. Dexter was terrific. That was great. And Daniel, listen, we know what Nabers is. When the Giants got him, we knew what they were getting. As Dave's described him, Madelyn, he's a dog. What was Daniel? 17 of 19 in the first half. And what I really liked about even the game plan, guys, is that, he was getting rid of the ball quickly, and the screens were making the defense go from side to side with the Browns. And what he was doing, what the game plan was doing, was keeping their defense off balance. Yeah, was it perfect? No, I'm sure, we're going to talk about that. But the imperfect things didn't override the perfect things. So they got the win. That was the most important thing.
I was just going to add, I think for me, perhaps the most impressive thing of the entire game, and Coach Dable spoke about this, a lot of the players spoke about this after the game, was just the resiliency that the team showed. I mean, that game against the Browns could not have gotten off to a worse start, with the fumble on the kickoff return, touchdown on the very first play for the Browns. 11 seconds in, Giants got the ball first, and 11 seconds into the game, they're down 7-0. And they did not let this phase them. They, that first drive that they got the ball back, they did end up punting it, but then they got to stop right away on defense. And then the following drive, they put together a 13-play, 81-yard drive for a touchdown. And, I think it was 2 drives later, they put together a 93-yard drive. And what made this so impressive was the fact that this was going up against a Browns defense that is an elite unit. It may not be quite up to the same level as it was performing last year, but going back to the start of the 2023 season, no defense has been better at home than the Cleveland Browns defense. They had given up, I think it's 50 yards fewer than any other team when they were playing at home. And the Giants went, and I think it was around 340 total yards of offense. The passing game got going with Daniel Jones. Devin Singletary, although, he did lose a fumble for the second consecutive week, which that is not great, but he still put together a very strong game. And I think it's kind of underrated how solid of a season Devin Singletary has already gotten off to. He's averaging like 4.7 yards per carry. He's forcing missed tackles. He leads the NFL in missed tackles forced. No one wants to talk about that, but that is fact. He's gaining yards after contact. He's just been very solid in everything that the Giants could hope for when they signed him in the offseason.
Not to mention too his help in pass protection, right? He's not afraid to get in there and throw a block, which has been really helpful in getting Daniel Jones some time to get the ball to Malik Nabers, who, Nabers became the first player in NFL history with 20 receptions and 3 receiving touchdowns in their first 3 games. He became the youngest player in NFL history to have 2 touchdowns in a game. He did that in the first half against Cleveland. But one thing that I thought was interesting is, the Browns defense, they were setting up Emerson and Ward on designated sides of the field instead of designating them on specific receivers. So Nabers was just like, all right, I'm going to go line up on Emerson, right? Like, give me CB2. And in the second half, it was a little bit more, they shadowed him with Ward a bit more. And I would imagine that other teams, as the season progresses, are taking notice at this young rookie and saying, okay, he's pretty good. We might want to put our top guy on him, no?
Yeah, you also were talking about resiliency. It got brought up, and one of the things that seemed to, I don't want to say it's totally forgotten, but overshadowed in the game, which I thought was huge. I thought I think it was midway in the first quarter, on a 4th and 1 from their own 43, Brian Dable went for a 4th and 1 on his own 43. And let me tell you, that sent the message to the team that I believe in my guys. That sent the message to everybody. And that was part of the resiliency. They didn't back down.
Reminded me too of that week 1 of 2022.
Yeah, exactly.
They went for it on 4th down on that opening drive. And Brian Dable even said, he goes, you trust your players. It opens up the playbook a little bit.
Yeah, no, it was, like you say, it was 7-0 at the time. They're on their own 43. And I thought that was a gutsy call. I liked the call, but, and you know how it goes. I mean, if it doesn't work, then everybody's screaming. But I mean, Matt, you brought up the word resiliency. Let me tell you, add a little humor to this. Here I am watching a game. I literally walked into the kitchen to get something out of the fridge. I walked back into the family room. I missed the kickoff and they were down. I actually saw the touchdown to put them down 7-0. And I said, oh, this is not one of those Murphy Laws game. What can go wrong will go wrong. But they showed resiliency. They didn't back down. And I just thought there was improvement all across the board. Yeah, we mentioned Devin Singletary's fumble, and that has to be corrected. I'm sure that will be spoken about. But he's a veteran player. He's a good, solid player. I thought the way the defense responded from the week before, getting the pass rush that they needed, it was just really good. And I'll tell you something else. We keep, everybody, you read about it and hear about it. Everybody likes to talk about what Joe Shane said in Hard Knocks about getting this guy or getting that guy. The one thing Joe Shane said also in Hard Knocks was, we got to get the quarterback help. Well, you know what? They got him Malik Nabers, and they got him an offensive line. Yeah, we haven't spoken about the offensive line yet. Offensive line was good. Daniel was very good in the pocket. He was moving around. He was poised. He was comfortable. He didn't have nervous feet. So there's a lot of pluses going into Thursday night against the Cowboys.
But, the Giants offensive line, they only allowed Daniel Jones to get sacked twice. And he seemed also more comfortable and more decisive in that way. And the way that he rolled out, the way that he was quick with his decision-making, it was really helpful.
The best part of football season? Checking out the post-game stats. Which wideouts scored more than 2 touchdowns? Which QBs threw for less than 350 yards? Think you can pick who will do what before kickoff? Then play Pick 6 from DraftKings, an official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, select between 2 and 6 players, and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. It's that simple. And for all first-time Pick 6 players, check this out. New customers play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code DK1. That's code DK1 for new customers to play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Non-withdrawable. Pick 6 credits expire in 6 months. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Matt, you brought up Devin Singletary. Great performance by him once again. going in on a short week against the Dallas Cowboys, whose run defense is not exactly elite. What kind of a matchup is that? I mean, Devin Singletary's got to be watching that tape and they've been thinking, okay, we gotta run the ball for a team that's, not really been heavily relying on the run the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, look, every matchup that the Giants have against the Cowboys, we all know it's going to be tough. The Dallas Cowboys have won, 12 of the last 13 games, 13 of the last 14. Like, they've dominated the series. But I don't remember the Giants getting to face a Dallas team that I guess is coming off such a rough 2-week stretch. And yeah, you brought up the run game. Their run defense has just been getting gashed, especially these last 2 weeks. I mean, we're only 3 games into the season, but the Dallas Cowboys have the number 32 ranked rush defense in the NFL. They just let the Baltimore Ravens, which granted they do have the duo of Lamar Jackson at quarterback and Derrick Henry, but the two of those guys led a rushing attack that had 274 rushing yards against the Cowboys just a couple of days ago. And, Dallas is definitely going to want to try to wipe that memory clean. And, they're moving on to this week. But this is a great opportunity for the Giants to continue to establish the run with Devin Singletary. Now, we brought up the fumble before. It's 2 in the last 2 games, which definitely needs to be corrected. But outside of those 2 fumbles, Devin Singletary has just been a rock solid veteran addition to this offense, clearly helping both the run game and the pass game. I mean, Madelyn, you brought up his performance in pass protection. He was pass blocking, I believe it was 14 plays against the Browns, didn't give up a single pressure, which was similar to what we saw in the first 2 weeks. He also had his best game as a receiver this past week. He had 4 catches for 43 yards. So he's really playing a big role in this offense and establishing the run and getting the run going, open things up for Daniel Jones, Malik Nabers, and the passing attack. So if they can start establishing the run early on and show the Cowboys you can't just double Malik every play, you're going to have to respect Devin Singletary in this run game, then that's going to set up well for the Giants passing attack.
No, you're right, Matt, but it also works in the reverse way. If your passing game is working, conversely, that sets up your run game as well.
Very true.
It's the hip bones connected to the thigh bone and blah, 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 but it's true. I mean, what do we always hear from Coach Dable? Complementary football. If you set up that pass game, that's going to help your run game. If you set up your run game, it's going to help the pass game. And going back to what we started at the beginning, I just love the way Daniel was first of all, he was getting the ball out quickly. The screens were working real fast, and he was making the defense go side to side, which was keeping the Brown defense off balance. I would be surprised if we're going to see more of the same thing Thursday night at MetLife.
And returning. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to add on about Daniel Jones. I don't think he's getting, honestly, enough respect for what he just did on Sunday. Daniel Jones went over 70% of his passes, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, second consecutive game. It was his highest passer rating. He had a passer rating of 109.4, his highest passer rating since that Colts game at the end of the 2022 season, when he had a 125.2 passer rating.
Career high of completions in the first half. 17 completions in the first half was a career high for him. Add that to the list.
Yeah, 17 of 19 for 178 yards and the 2 touchdowns. Passer rating of 140.8 in the first half. That is just so impressive that he was able to do that. So if Daniel Jones is going to be able to produce, obviously we know he can do it when he has time, but if he's able to also do it when getting pressured, which you better believe he's going to get pressured again this Thursday against the Cowboys pass rush with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, if he's able to thrive, whether or not he's getting pressured or blitzed, that this passing game, the sky is the potential is through the roof. Like with Malik Nabers and a Daniel Jones is confident in the pocket, confidence in his protection, there's no saying what this passing offense can do.
The best part of football season? Checking out the post-game stats. Which wideout scored more than 2 touchdowns? Which QBs threw for less than 350 yards? Think you can pick who will do what before kickoff? Then play Pick 6 from DraftKings, an official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, select between 2 and 6 players, and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. It's that simple. And for all first-time Pick 6 players, check this out. New customers play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code DK1. That's code DK1 for new customers to play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Non-withdrawable. Pick 6 credits. Expire in 6 months. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Well, we've talked a lot about the Giants offense, but the Giants defense, of course, another incredible performance in Cleveland and a tough matchup with these Cowboys. Yes, we saw the frustrations brewing on Sunday when the Cowboys were facing the Ravens, and we saw that kind of, being expressed on the sidelines between some of their players, but that happens. And, that's happened to every team in the NFL. And coming into a Thursday night game on a short week in a division, I think you think that one of the top paid quarterbacks and one of the top paid wide receivers wanting to show on primetime with the nation watching, like, hey, this is what we've got. So this Giants defense has got, a tall task at hand when they look at, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb and company coming into MetLife. When you look at the focal point for this Giants defense on Thursday night, where are you putting your energy?
Yeah, for me, when it comes to the Giants defense, I feel like it's pretty obvious the priority has to be the pass game, Dallas's pass game. And, that's twofold, starting with the pass rush, which, we've discussed how successful the Giants pass rush was this past Sunday in Cleveland. Well, the 8 sacks, I'm not sure what date you said before, Madelyn, but the 8 sacks was the most the defense has had in nearly 10 years. There was a game in December of 2014 where they also had 8 sacks, but a decade.
Also against the Browns?
Against the Titans.
Oh.
Close, AFC.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been literally nearly a decade since the Giants had 8 sacks in a game. They had 36 total quarterback pressures, which I know some people want to, scoff when pressures are brought up, but pressures are an important stat as well. Most in the NFL this past week with their 36 pressures, they had 9 different players register at least a half a sack. Only the 4th time that's ever happened in the NFL. But the most impressive part to me was Shane Bowen. I have to tip my cap to him because, he came to the Giants with this reputation of only setting 4-man rushes, not really blitzing often, not pressuring too often. And against the Browns on Sunday, he flipped the script completely. I mean, he was sending blitzes on over half of the Giants' defensive snaps, which is a total 180 of what everyone thinks of when they think of a Shane Bowen defense. And after the game, Deshaun Watson even admitted, we came into this game with a game plan thinking they were going to do one thing, and then they went and did the exact opposite. So kudos to Shane Bowen. He's going to have to come up with a creative game plan again for the Cowboys this Sunday, because despite this reputation he might have had before he came to the Giants have actually blitzed. I believe they're like top 5 in blitz rate in the NFL this season. So the Cowboys, they're not going to be so surprised, I don't think, if the Giants send an extra blitzer or two more often than not. So Shane Bowen is going to have to come up with a creative defensive game plan, and it's going to be especially important considering some of the injuries the Giants have in the secondary. At least for Monday's walkthrough, Drew Phillips and Adoree Jackson did not participate in practice. And if those 2 guys are both out, Nick McLeod is still coming back from a knee injury, although he was a limited participant in yesterday's walkthrough. But CeeDee Lamb is one of the best receivers in the league. He's going to be lining up in the slot. And especially if Drew Phillips and Adoree Jackson are both out, then Shane Bowen is going to have to get very creative to come up with the game plan in slowing down that star receiver.
We saw some of his creativity dropping Brian Burns back into coverage, and Burns almost had an interception. So, but you're right. He's going to have to definitely get creative, drawing it up in the sand or whatever it is. But hopefully these guys are healthy. I know we saw, both Adoree Jackson and Andrew Phillips left the game with calf injuries on Sunday. So we'll see what that trajectory is as the short week unfolds.
Yeah, you talk about Shane Bowen. What I loved about his game plan when I watched him, when I watched the way the defense was attacking in Cleveland, it reminded me of a saying, an old saying in boxing in the fight game. When you hit somebody, you have to hit with bad intentions when you're throwing that punch. And I thought the defense, I'm not saying they were looking to hurt somebody, but they were attacking with bad intentions. They were attacking with an attitude, let's take care of business. Let's get this guy. And they have to, listen, it's a tall order doing it against don't look at the record of the Cowboys. They are the Dallas Cowboys. They're tough division rivals. Just look at them as a tough opponent, and you have to attack with your game plan the same way. Do it, as I say, with bad intentions, where you want to mean business and put your opponent down.
Hey, the toughest opponent is the next opponent, right?
For sure. And just adding one last thing quickly to what I was talking about with the pass rush is this past Sunday against the Browns, the Giants blitzed Browns 27 times. The first two games combined, the Giants blitzed 19 times. And going up against Dallas this week, just a fun statistic. Through the first three games, Dak Prescott is completing under 45% of his passes when being blitzed, which is the fifth lowest in the NFL. So I would not be surprised if Shane Bowen and the Giants defense are sending blitzes more often than not this Thursday.
Thing I love about a short week is we've only got a couple more sleeps until we get more Giants football, and that is an incredible thing. That's a wrap for our Week 4 Giants Hangout, brought to you by Crestron. For Russ Salzberg and Matt Citak, I'm Madelyn Burke. We'll see you next time.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart, so check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.